Well, one's tempted to say that hopefully this is the last time I'll have to do this, because I am fed up with making all these nuclear predictions. But on the other hand, by saying that, you're saying, oh well, I hope there's a nuclear bomb so that my prediction is correct, which is obviously not the case. I mean, we'd much prefer it if rather than a nuclear bomb there was a big sign in the heavens saying, oh, the Lord's witnesses have it right, they've decoded the Bible and their prediction is correct, and why don't you listen to them? But that's not how it's going to work, because there are some lessons mankind needs to learn about sustainable morality, and one of them is that a nuclear weapon is a disproportionate means of defence or attack, and it's morally unsustainable, quite plainly, because it's 100% collateral damage. It's never going to be an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It's all the wrong eyes for the eye and all the wrong teeth for the teeth. But nonetheless, it's the job of an Elijah, respective Elijah, to make these predictions of when the fire is going to come from the heavens and when Satan's going to do this, and whatever I do or predict, it's not going to make any difference. He's going to do it when he's going to do it. The thing is, it won't make any difference to when he does it, but it will make a difference to the reaction, hopefully, of faithful people when they see that it was prophesied in the scriptures. So our latest date for these two fire signs, one we think is going to be a terrorist nuclear attack round about Dartford, because it's from the sea, which is the Thames, to the north of a garden land, Carmel, and Kent is a garden of England. And the other one is from the Hudson on Manhattan, which is to the north of New Jersey, which is a garden state. There are other reasons why we've picked those locations, or we think that's where they are. And the dates we now have are the second fire sign. We think it's going to be today or tomorrow, basically. Tishri 15/16, because it must happen before Tishri 17, which is the beginning of the 10th demonic Pentecost. Demonic Pentecosts count from a demonic Passover day of Tishri 14, when Satan got the world in 3993, and when his lease expired in 2008 AD. We're now in the 7th year of the kingdom of God. It doesn't feel like that, but it took the Jews 7 years to conquer the promised land, and that is a prophecy. And then the next fire sign, we expect the third fire sign of 1 Kings 18, which is the second part of the second fire sign of 2 Kings 1, which is the stone hitting the other foot, the 2 feet of the giant man in Daniel 2 being the UK and the US feet, hit by this big stone, which is going to stumble all mankind, which is these terrorist attacks. The second one of them, that we're presently predicting, falls on 2015 Heshvan 5, which is the late Zoar Pentecost, which is October 20 to 23. Yeah. The Zoar Pentecost has been quite a difficult thing to get right. We knew that the first fruits for Zoar was Sivan 16. We've known that for years, because it's the end of the temple ratio prophecy of understanding 108 on www.truebiblecode.com. It's a beautiful prophecy. Have a look at that. So we knew that mankind escaped from Adam at the end of the Adamic temple, which was 2012 Sivan 16. And that was the first fruits into a non-Adamic body for those in the true church. Trouble is, it was in the Jubilee, because the kingdom began judicially 2008 Nisan 22, and therefore the first month of it, whole month, began in ER1, and the 50th whole month was 2012 Sivan. So Jubilee month, so you cannot have an appointment in that month. So nobody could be appointed over Zoar. No religious group could be appointed over Zoar. Zoar, incidentally, is the final true church the escape, it's the boarding platform for the greater ark, it's the place of escape for those running away from the greater Sodom. Sodom was a place where homosexuality had market square acceptance. Today, homosexuality has market square acceptance. Market square is where all the news was told in the old days, and today, of course, it's the media. But the media values the rights of gays to have unprotected anal sex and thereby spread AIDS. I mean, they're not responsible for AIDS, but they are responsible for spreading it if they have unprotected anal sex, which has a monster chance of giving you AIDS. And the result of that is that there's 20 million AIDS orphans and 40 million people dead and 40 million people with AIDS. It's a bigger genocide than Hitler. But no one cares about the rights of children to have parents. They're less important, aren't they, than the rights of gays to have unprotected rather than protected anal sex. That's the legislation we've got. I mean, you can't smoke in a public place because you might get passive cancer, but you can have unprotected anal sex, which is so far is the main mechanism of transmission of AIDS, which we all know has killed 35 million people, or nearly 40, isn't it? And infected 40 million others, and created 20 million AIDS orphans. So God has a different view. He has the rights of children to have parents as more important who are living, and the rights of 40 million people to retain their life as being more important than the marginal difference in sexual gratification between having sex with a condom and having sex without a condom. So that was a bit of a distraction from the main purpose of this talk. But it's all about moral sustainability, really, isn't it? Whether it's sexual or whether it's military with nuclear bombs. So the Zoar Pentecost. So the first fruits couldn't be in the Jubilee month. So we couldn't get, no one was appointed over Zoar in 2012, 2016. So the next date would be the month later, the late first fruits. But that was a weekly Sabbath on Tammuz 16, 2012. So no one could be appointed then. So the next date is Ab 16, the late Zoar first fruits. And that's indeed when we now understand that the true church, which we modestly think is our church, the Lord's Witnesses, was appointed over Zoar. And then the Pentecost will be 50 days inclusively from that. That will be day 1 of the 50 count. Day 50 would be Tishri 5. The late Pentecost will be Heshvan 5. And so this year it's again Heshvan 5. And 2 Kings 1 insists that there's fire from the heavens at that Pentecost. And that is October 20 to 23. So for the full explanation, and it's, you know, every time we do this, it is a pain that we have to recalculate and update the site and do all this work. But every time the jigsaw fits better, and I can tell you it has never fitted so well. We have, I don't know, 100 pieces of chronological understandings, you know, where we interpret the 318 slaves born in Abraham's household as 318 days from when Abraham's household started to create children again to the end of Zoar, actually. And we interpret the 5,000 men who were fed by Jesus as 5,000 days, etc., etc. Making a sort of generalization of the interpretation of Joseph, that 7 fat cows were 7 years and 7 thin cows were 7 years of famine. We've generalized that to any number of thingies in the Bible. Can be that number of days, years, months. Chronological information encoded. Because the Bible is a history book with no dates in it. And so you're faced with the question, is God an order of magnitude worse than Winston Churchill at writing his history of the Hebrew-speaking people? Or are the dates in there, but we just can't see where they are? We took the latter view. Okay, and so the final dates are then, we think that there'll be nuclear terrorist attack on the UK tomorrow, the next day, or the next day, and we think there'll be one in the US October 20 to 23, which is 2015 Heshvan 4 to 6, basically covering Heshvan 5, which is the late Zoar Pentecost. Thank you.